Welcome to another edition of Real Talk Twin Cities. I'm Eric Pirius with Bell Mortgage. As always, on Saturdays we bring you expert advice. We're your local experts on all things real estate. Cheryl Kempenek here with Coldwell Banker Burnet. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Eric.
Donna Quanrud, also with Coldwell Banker Burnet. Donna.
Hi.
And of course we have our ever-present partner in all things financial, Elise of Azure Wealth Management. Hi, Elise.
Hi, guys.
All right. We're on AM 1280 The Patriot, Saturdays at 4 o'clock and Sundays at 6 a.m. on 1570 The Wall Street Business Network. We'd love to help you sell, buy, or refinance your next home. You can always reach out to us at realtalktwincities.com. Coming up in the first segment here, we've got some information about showing in the snow. Is that right, Cheryl?
It's been one of those weeks.
Okay, and market stats with Donna. I'll have some rate news for you, and then later on today we're going to talk about emotional traps. So we're going to get you in touch with, if you're considering listing, when you should start thinking about it, how to do that, is it a good time to sell, how much to sell for, talk about those kind of things. And this past week, I went biking again, Cheryl, I don't know if you know that.
Crazy. I don't know how you do it, Eric.
Well, and this time it was ice with 2 inches of snow on it, so I managed to have a few bruises. Fell down a few times.
No, that explains the limp.
That's right. That's right. A lot of fun. So what have you been up to?
You know what? I've just been working. People are out there. They're ready to start buying, so I've been showing homes. Had the experience of traipsing through the snow once again this week. And just a reminder to all you buyers, it's cold out. Please dress warm. Donna,
Yes.
isn't it difficult when you're working with buyers and they've got a little tiny jacket and they're waiting for you to get in the
Right.
door and fumble
Right.
with that lockbox?
And they don't have their gloves on and the wind is whipping and sometimes we stand at that front door and the light isn't on, so it takes us a while to see the numbers on those lockbox combinations and get inside.
Right. So my advice to the buyers, if you're following behind the realtor, stay in your car until the realtor's in the house. And sellers, please leave your outside lights on, your inside lights on, and have a great big mat so we don't get snow all over your foyer.
Good idea.
Simple stuff, but sounds important.
It really is.
And Donna, what's going on in the market right now?
Weekly market stats. It's interesting. We're starting to see a lot of activity, like Cheryl said, a lot of buyers out there, and we still have low inventory. Our inventory is down over 6%. So we need some more homes to sell. Condos,
Absolutely.
everything. So if you're thinking about it, now's a great time because the buyers are chomping at the bit and there's not as much out there to be looking at. We had 3% change in closed sales over the previous week and almost 16% in new listings. So we're seeing a lot of listings come on, but it's not catching up with what's happening on the buy side. And so I'm perplexed. It's like, this is the spring market and we want to be working with more and more sellers to get their properties on because the buyers are waiting and they're out there available.
Yeah, that's really true. Even with Super Bowl last weekend, buyers were out. I had a lot of showings going on at my listings. So definitely need more listings. If you're thinking about selling your home, give us a call, 612-735-0553. That's 612-735-0553, and we can give you some great expert advice on what you need to do to get your home ready and get it on the market for the highest price possible.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to put it on for too high, right? Some of these emotional traps that we talk about, that's an easy one to fall into, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's very important that you have a good market analysis done so you know exactly what's going on in the neighborhood. And we can go through, we can let you know your estimate of proceeds so you know what to expect. And that way we can help you plan for your next home as well.
So why is shooting for the moon, for lack of a better phrase, a bad idea? I mean, why not? How does it hurt? So what? I put my house on there for $400. Probably won't sell for more than $320. But I mean, how can that hurt someone? You know, all you got to do is drop the price. Who cares?
Well, actually, when you do that, if you put your home on and the price is too high, it usually sits on the market longer. And the longer it sits, the less desirable buyers think that it is, and they think they're gonna get a better discount.
So they automatically think something's wrong with it because it didn't sell right away?
Absolutely. You're gonna get the highest price right away because you have so much interest going on. If it goes on the market at the right price, you have several people coming in, you have a greater likelihood of getting into multiple offers because people wanna hurry up and try to tie
That's
up
right.
that property before somebody else gets it.
The wrong buyers are seeing the property too, because they're not looking at your property because it's overpriced. And maybe if they're only qualified to 300,000 and you should be at 300,000, but you've got it at 350, it's gonna take you much longer to bring it down into line to get the right buyer that's gonna go through and see it.
Right. And the biggest problem that we see is the listings that are right over a bracket. So if the bracket is 200,000 or 300,000 and you've listed your property at 205 or 309, you're missing out on all of those buyers looking up to 2 or 300,000. And if you take into consideration that the average percentage of the original list price that the home sells for is 94.4%, that takes into consideration the ones selling right away are much closer to full price, and the ones that are on the market longer are probably down closer to 90% of your
Correct.
asking price. So you definitely want to price it right starting out.
What about the banks? I know that foreclosures, granted there's a lot less of them now, they have taken to the strategy of lowballing buyers. In other words, in fact, I pre-approved someone for a place in Minnetonka yesterday, and for $500,000 home and pretty good shape, but the bank had it at 340, and I said, well, this is probably a lowball deal. You'll be highest and best in a few days, and they just thought it was they found the deal of the century, and so first of all, do banks do that, and why? And would that be a good strategy for the average?
Boy, not
home?
only banks do that. We had one over in the Cedar Isles area that went on last weekend, and it sold over the weekend. I think it hit the market Friday. It was sold by Sunday. They underpriced that by $150,000. And one of my clients called and said, boy, this looks like a great house. What's wrong with it? Well, I went through there was nothing wrong with it. I mean, the Truth in Housing report was so clean, seller's disclosure clean, and it was just a strategy that the listing agents and the sellers tried. But that can really backfire as well, because you price it too low, you get tons of people coming in looking for a $600,000 house instead of $850, and you're really trying to get multiple offers, driving it up to $850, but it doesn't happen. You're reaching the wrong people, and the buyers coming in aren't qualified for that. So then you can end up losing market time, or the seller just settles for less. And it could be a situation too when the seller doesn't really know what that property is worth.
Right.
So it's risky.
I think it's risky, and boy, you've got to be on your toes. And if you're a buyer in that situation, looking for a property like that, you need to have an agent who is doing a market analysis for you. So if you know it's a $600,000 listing and it's worth $850, you better be prepared, to go that high, or at least understand how high you're willing to go to get it.
It seems like a miscommunication of sorts, because that price is your communication to the market, and if it's too high, then and maybe you're thinking, or if it's too low, somehow or other you're not in tune with the market, and I think that's no matter what, you're kind of starting off on the wrong foot, right? I mean, you are.
You're
going to throw people off somehow.
Yeah, and buyers don't understand. They look at it and they can't comprehend what's going on, and even other agents. Nobody knows if it's a strategy you're after or if you were just clueless when you came up with the price.
Right.
The real estate karma will come back and get you.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. And values are up from where they've been, and folks have gone through a lot of stress, a lot of emotion regarding the values of their home. There's been some relief recently, and people are starting to think, well, I paid this much in this year, and I think sometimes when you're listing, you can hang on to the past. You know, we paid this much, and you know, we did this much landscaping, and my house is different, my house is special. Do you think that's somewhat of an emotional trap?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody thinks that their home is the best and every dollar that they put in is so valuable. But you need to remember, you're doing that work for yourself, not for the next buyer.
Absolutely, and it's so interesting to get into the psychology of all of this, because you know there's different ways of looking at some of this stuff. But I know of someone that bought in an area that is not appreciating and put against my better advice, did some upgrades to their property, like heated floors in the bathroom that they added and things like that, where they'll never see the return on the investment, but they're enjoying it. So it's like, as long as they're enjoying it, okay, but people have different motivations for why they do what they do, and it doesn't always translate to a buyer looking at it.
You're right, Donna.
Sounds like you shouldn't take it personally.
You can't take any of this personally. You need to, if you're going to be selling your home, you just need to make the decision, make it look as best as you possibly can, and let it go. Don't worry about it.
But I raised my
Somebody
kids
else's-
there.
Well, take a picture. Bring it with you. I'm sorry.
Wow, all right. You know, and I think that's good advice, because, you know, the buyer isn't going to look at it, you know, they're not going to care how lovingly you restored the fireplace and kept the original stone, or...
They really won't. And if you think about a house like Elise's, okay, and you have a home that's 150 years old, how many people lived in that home? How many people died in that home is what I want to know. But you know what? It doesn't. Oh, sorry, Elise, you live there. Okay. All right.
Picture.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No hard feelings there. But so it doesn't really matter what happened in the house to the current. Oh, I'm gonna shut up here.
Thank you, producer guy, for coming in with the music right on time. You're listening to Real Talk Twin Cities. I'm Eric Purius with Bell Mortgage, along with Cheryl Kemp and Coldwell Banker Burnet. We're here on AM 1280 The Patriot. We're going to come back with more of the emotional traps having to do with selling. We'll be right back on AM 1280 The Patriot.